Good morning, listeners. And gosh, here we are on the 2nd of January, 2023. And may I wish you all a wonderful new year and that you will flourish and thrive in 2025. Having said that, what will it take to make you thrive? So let's start with the desire that we all express this time of the year, and that is, I hope it's a good year. I hope it's a better year than last year. We hear that at the end of every year. So let's look at New Year's resolutions and let's look at why they, by and large, don't work. So going back a bit, New Year's resolutions are, I'm not sure if they are a tradition. Excuse me. If they are, they're probably a relatively modern tradition. Every year, people will ask you, what are your New Year's resolutions? So there's a little bit of pressure to have a New Year's resolution, to say, well, this year I am going to. And with that statement, I am going to, there is a sense of determination, of a clear idea of what you are going to, and what the intended outcome of that statement would be. So based on that, let's look at why they don't work. So for starters, there's the pressure. There is familial pressure. You're all sitting around the fire or the table or enjoying a glass of bubbly, and so the conversation starts and we all share our New Year's resolution. Now, a resolution, by definition, the word says it is a answer to a situation. When we talk in a business sense, the meeting came to a resolution regarding the collection of refuse, meaning they have found the answer, they have determined an outcome, and that is the direction in which they're moving forward. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, it kind of feels good. It's the new year, we're in a good mood. There's the sense of the unknown that is coming our way, and that gives us a sense of, I almost want to say, bravado, of, well, I can, and it sounds good in the moment, I can do this and this and this in the coming year. However, what underlines that and what initiates that is often personal ambition. So based on what you would like to achieve and perhaps what you did not achieve last year is something that informs that New Year's resolution. So maybe you had a tough year career-wise. So your New Year's resolution would be to have a more successful, perhaps not as bumpy, not as confrontational, a career in the new year. Perhaps you want to change careers. Perhaps you're a young person who's graduated, and so it is with great excitement that you step into the world and join the rest of us in employment and so on. And then there is just, of course, the random stuff. You have no idea. You have given it zero thought. But there you are, you put on the spot, and people say to you, Lee, what are your New Year's resolutions? And you think, well, what sounds good? What can just roll off the tongue in this moment? There was never any intention to pursue it, and there was no resolution in that statement. It was something made in the moment. It sounded good. It perhaps became a topic of conversation on New Year's Day or the couple of days thereafter. And so it goes. And then that is the end of that. Very seldom do we think about it again. Very seldom do we write it down. And very seldom do we set it out. And that, dear listener, is where it all unravels. So if you really, really want to have this year be better than last year, then, for starters, think it through. Be prepared for that question. Or, if you are not, then just say, look, I'm still working on my New Year's resolutions. And if you have an idea, you can say, I'm thinking about improving or achieving in the area of education, but have not quite decided what it is I will do yet. Or I have decided to make 2025 a year of healthy eating, a healthier lifestyle. But I'm still refining the details of that, what that would look like for me. So then you lay a foundation without setting yourself up for failure by saying, well, I'm going to lose 10 kilos by the 1st of June. And that sounds fantastic. And come the 1st of June, you're in fact 2 kilos heavier, because it was never thought through. It was never unpacked. It was never put down in steps, practical steps of how you're going to achieve it. And of course, asking yourself, do I really want to do it? Or is there pressure from family and friends or cultural pressure to lose weight or to do something else, whatever that may be? So for starters, they fail because they're not well thought through. They fail because of pressure of the moment where you're sitting and people are asking you. There was no clarity as opposed to the objective. So let's take the weight loss thing. I want to lose 10 kgs by June. Okay. What is the clarity of the objective? Yes, it's the weight loss, but why? Do I want to be more comfortable in my clothing? Do I want to be able to play with my children and run around with my kids and kick a ball or throw a ball or that kind of thing without being out of breath within the first 5 minutes? Are you embarrassed to be seen in a swimming costume or in a gym outfit? And hence you don't exercise because you're embarrassed to be seen in the clothing, and therefore the weight gain never changes or the weight situation. So there's no clear end goal, there's no clear end objective, because remember, for any goal to succeed, we have to have a clear end goal and keep our eye on that. So if you keep thinking how wonderful it's going to be 10 kilos lighter and what you could do and what you could wear and how confident you'd feel, that is what's going to motivate you to stick to the plan till you achieve the goal. The next thing is there's no real desire to do it. It is, again, because you were put on the spot or because it was pressure from someone or somewhere else to do it. For example, it was my husband's New Year goal to go and climb the chain ladders in the Drakensberg. Now, I have a terrible fear of heights, and so I was very reluctant to go. But eventually he talked me into it, and off we went. But I did say that I would go. I would stay at the B&B and I would entertain myself. But he can go off, and he went off with his son to go and do the chain ladders. But if I had relented and walked out to the chain ladders and then got there and said, I can't do this, then it feels like a failure. Then it feels more like something that I am almost ashamed of. I went all the way there and I didn't complete what I said I would do. So if I had been pressurized into going as far as the bottom of the ladders, then that would have felt awkward and would have been disappointing for the people who had committed to do it and take me with. So that's an example of just being pressurized and having to, I've just got to let Mango in, to doing something that they have no personal desire to do or feel they're unable to do, as in my case, because of the fear of heights. The next is no real desire to grow or develop personally or professionally. So people can say to you, you should apply for that job, or you should go and get that qualification, or you should work on your communication skills. And you say, yeah, that's a great idea. I'll make that a goal this year. And you never really intended to do it. You'll put it off come March and they say, how's it going? You say, well, I'm working on it, but, it hasn't quite come to fruition yet. So there was never really the personal desire to grow and develop personally or professionally. Then last, there is just no commitment. So all of the above results in no real commitment. Now, how do we rectify this, listeners? How do we sit at this time of the year and say, you know what, I really, really don't want to be in this position come 2nd January 2026. I want my position to improve, whatever that means for you, be it the weight loss, be it, and sometimes it was leaving a relationship, as it was for me many, many years ago as a very young woman. I did set myself the goal and said by my birthday, which is in August, I will be divorced. And I made that my mission. And it did, in fact, I did get divorced before that. And it would have been my 25th birthday. And I said I will be divorced before my 25th birthday. So for starters, clarify for yourself what is it you would like in your life or out of your life. And then set out the process of achieving that. I first have to make sure that I can manage on my own, that I have a place to move to, that I am financially independent, those kind of things. And keep your eye on the goal. As I said, the end result. What would it mean to you to be in a perhaps a better relationship? Perhaps you love your partner, but things have been a little bit scratchy and rocky, and you can say, I want to work on improving our relationship. Then what does that improvement look like? We will argue less. We will do more things together. We will be more gentle with each other. Then set out the steps. If it's a career goal, well, of course, then you have to set out the steps that is necessary to achieve those career objectives. So clarity is key, as in anything. Then commitment. Commit to achieving it by a certain date next year. Otherwise, you say, I'll do it next year. Come March, nothing has happened. Come July, nothing has happened. Come September, nothing has happened. And depending on the goal, you've run out of time. And then you say, well, it's pointless trying now. I am going to leave it for 2026. And yet again, another year has come and gone, and you are in exactly the same position you were when you started. I had a chat with my son yesterday, and I asked him, what are his New Year's objectives and resolutions? And he said, Mom, I don't have a resolution as such. I choose a word or a phrase for the year, and I focus on that, and I write it down, and I put it in various places on my car's dash and in the prominent place in the office and the home. And his New Year's phrase for 25 was locked in. And he explained to me that means to him to stay locked in his goal, locked in the objectives he wants to achieve, locked into his desires and his dreams, so that he never loses focus of what he wants to achieve. And I thought that was an excellent idea and a simple solution to New Year's resolutions. And mine is, I thought, excellent, and I choose the word focus, to focus. Because what does it mean to be focused? If you think of a camera or a movie that's out of focus, you can't see clearly, it's blurred. Your attention is distracted by the blurriness. But if it's focused, it's crisp, it's clear, and you have that picture in your mind, crystal clear, all of the time, or most of the time, of what you want to achieve, what you want to manifest and play out this year. So it's a thought, listeners, but as I say, if you've got a goal like achieving a weight goal or an educational goal or whatever, write it down in steps. So my word focus is going to be placed in strategic places around my home and in my office. And then I will write a little bit, break it down into what I'm focusing on. So that, with the picture in my mind visualize, as they say, is key, because then you can get in 4D, you can see the outcome of your goal and what you are focusing on. And with that clarity and that determination to focus or stay locked in, you can achieve and you can measure your progress as you move through the year. So listeners, if you've already said to friends and family, your New Year's resolutions are X, Y, and Z, revisit them. Sit down when you have a quiet moment, write them down and ask yourself, is this really what I want to do this year? Is this really what I want to achieve? Or was it something I said because it sounded good at the time, or perhaps it sounded impressive at the time? Delete it, scratch, let it go, and then say, what do I personally want to change and improve in my life this year? And remember, you cannot keep doing the same thing and hope for a different result. If you want a different result, you have to make different choices. So whether that is relational, personal, professional, fitness orientated, lifestyle orientated, whatever it is, painting the house, doing an alteration to your home, travel, whatever it is, then get a clear picture of the end goal, and then you unravel it, unpick it, and put the steps in place as to how you're going to achieve it in 2025. So that you don't straight say, well, it's too difficult. I haven't got the necessary resources to achieve that. Set it out now so that you, with little gains and little steps forward, you gain momentum and you become encouraged and even more excited about achieving that clear end result that you have focused on and stayed locked into. So listeners, I hope that was helpful. I hope that gave you some insights into New Year's resolutions and perhaps the lack thereof. And if you haven't made New Year's resolutions, then ask yourself, why not? Are you so happy with your life as it is in all spheres of your life that you do not wish to improve anything? If that's the case, you are a remarkably lucky person. But having said that, you should still have the desire to grow and develop as an individual. So think about that. And listeners, I wish you all the best for the new year. As usual, these talks will be on Spotify and on YouTube. Please send us some requests for the new year. We have got a whole year ahead of us with all sorts of exciting things that we can unpack, all sorts of interesting and sometimes baffling things that we can unpack together in this time you and I share on a Thursday. And yes, let's start the year off with clarity, with focus, and staying locked in to those goals.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.